Hey guys, I wanted to update you on what's been going on with my music and our recent move to Malaysia because there's a lot of exciting things happening in the background. I'm in the studio a lot working on new material, and I thought it would be cool to share this process with you, really from kind of songwriting to the studio to Spotify, and show you guys everything that goes into music production, especially when you're an independent artist and a DIY musician. For those of you who are new to my music and new to my channel, I'm Dora Donaldson. I'm an independent singer-songwriter. I'm Hungarian, American, and Swiss, and now living in Kuala Lumpur. So it's a bit of a long story. I think I'll save it for another video another time. But I released my first album, Cardboard Boxes, back in 2013. So it's on Spotify and it's on Apple Music. But obviously a lot of time has passed since then, and there's a number of reasons for that. The main reason is that I'm an independent musician and music is not my main source of income. So the last few years I was really busy setting up my own company as a graphic designer. And while I was kind of getting that up and running, music absolutely took a back seat. But luckily I was writing the whole time, and so now I have this catalog of songs. And my idea was to go through, pick out the best ones, and record and release new material this year. That was the plan anyway. And then we got to Malaysia and everything is just so exciting and new that I've just been hit with a wave of inspiration. And I'm writing new material all the time. And it also means that I can share a little bit more about my songwriting process with you guys. I've also found a really cool studio here in KL already, and we're already hard at work recording the first few tracks. The first one is almost finished and we're about to start with the next batch. So I can't wait to share that with you guys. When I was recording my first album, I really had no experience in the music industry, almost at all. I had no idea how a song was made, nothing. And since then, I've gained a lot more experience. And since I kind of have this opportunity to build everything up from scratch, I'm really intrigued to see what happens when I actually think about it. And I wanted to share this journey with you guys because being an independent musician is so all-encompassing. You have to be a jack of all trades, and it's challenging at the best of times, let alone when you move to a new country. You don't have your usual network. You don't know that many people yet, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so I kind of thought, by making this experience a bit more public, I will have a bit more external motivation as well to keep going and not give up. So I'll be doing regular updates about what I'm working on and what it's like to be living and making music in Malaysia. And if you want to stay up to date with that, then hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, and then you'll be notified whenever I release a new video and also new music. So we moved to KL back in January, and we moved here from Switzerland. So it was quite funny to go to the airport in our winter coats and then arrive here in 35 degrees and 90% humidity. But we went straight into quarantine. We did 10 days quarantine. And then as we were leaving quarantine, Malaysia went into lockdown. So they call it an MCO. It's a movement control order, and it was their MCO 2.0. So they went through the first iteration last spring, and then now they had the second one in January. Luckily, we were able to find an apartment and IKEA was open. So we just spent that time kind of getting furnished, getting some bedding and towels, and feeling a little bit more settled into our nest. And then for a couple months, things were pretty open. So interstate travel wasn't allowed, but we could go to the nearby state, and we were able to explore along the coast and visit some of the mangroves. We visited a fishing village, Pulau Ketam, and we got to spend some time in the jungle as well, which was super, super nice. We've also had a chance to explore KL and all of its different neighborhoods. We've met some really nice people, so we've made some friends and definitely feeling a lot more settled and more at home. I actually wanted to do the rest of this update while taking you around the neighborhood, but now we're in an MCO 3.0, and it always takes a few days to kind of figure out what's allowed and what's not. What I can do is take you up to our roof and then show you around up there while I update you a bit more about my music. When we were researching condos, we hoped that we would have a really nice view of the skyline, but I don't think we quite anticipated this. So these are the Petronas Towers, obviously very iconic for Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur. Just absolutely incredible that we get to see them this close. Here's the view from this side. You can see it's very cosmopolitan, lots of high-rise buildings. We absolutely love it. We wanted to live very centrally because we're trying to actually not get a car. And it's working. In spite of having a very big city feel, it's a very compact city, and KL has so many cool districts and different neighborhoods, all with their own characteristics. So in each video, I'll try to take you guys somewhere new and show you as much of the city as I can while we're here. So I think I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time up here, especially if we're going to be in a new MCO, and I need to think about what I can do with my music during this time, but there's definitely some things I can work on. So my priority is to finish the mix and the master for the first track and then move on to the production of the next batch of songs. I need to think about my release strategy because originally I thought about doing an album, but I could maybe concentrate on just doing an EP or even release the songs as singles. And the way things are going with COVID, I'm kind of leaning towards releasing the tracks as singles because then things are just a little bit less interdependent on each other, and it might help me stay on schedule with wanting to release new material this year. I also need to talk to the videographers because the first concept that we had for the first track is really dependent on interstate and interdistrict travel, and that could take weeks or months to go back to normal. So we're kind of at a point in the timeline where I think we have to come up with a plan B. Obviously it's not ideal, but you know, these things happen and we're gonna stay flexible, and I'm optimistic that it's gonna be great no matter what. But yeah, it's just something that we have to think about. In the meantime, I've got some collaborations coming up with musicians that I used to play with back in Zurich. We're spread out all over the world now, so it's obviously not the same as playing in person, but I'm just so happy to be collaborating with these guys again and can't wait to share that with you guys. I've also been doing the YouTube Cover Lounge series where every week I upload an acoustic cover of a song, and I've really enjoyed getting your requests for that because it means that I'm learning songs that I wouldn't have necessarily picked myself. So do check that out. I'll link the playlist in the description below. You can also check out my original material, which I will also link in the description below. And next week, I want to talk a little bit about my experience recording those songs in that album, as well as my experience with some of the other projects that I was working on the last few years, and what lessons I want to take from that and how to incorporate them into these new releases. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, then hit subscribe and the bell icon. That way you're notified anytime I upload a new video. In the meantime, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys soon.